Hello, my squirrely minions. Lord Cracker Squirrel here, and welcome to Ye Olde Podcast. This is SquirrelCast, and we are actually recording now for posting up. For by the time you see that, it will be Sunday. So we're actually going to have a little bit of fun here. I have with me today a flying brick.
Howdy.
A ratchet that wants to be a spanner.
G'day.
And I have a very mellow person that hasn't got quite enough weed today.
Oh, so you're talking about me?
Well, yeah.
Oh, gee, thanks. Hi. What an introduction, thanks.
There's 4 people here. Who did you think he was talking about?
I don't know, probably someone sitting next to him.
Not me. No, not around here. Nobody smokes weed right here. Nobody smokes weed in my immediate presence. You're the one that chose to be called mellow, sir.
What the hell makes you think I do it?
You're the one that chose to be called mellow. I have to make some kind of a joke out of you. I mean, Ratchet got wrapped his head around the joke I made about him.
Yeah, I got called a tool. Who's worse, a starter or a tool?
Of course, I don't have to make a joke about flying bricks because, well, that's a joke in and of itself. So I'm all good with that. Don't worry, I'll make different jokes next time. It'll be okay. So now we're gonna have this way. Yeah, I'll make a different joke next time. All right. So, and no, I didn't say for once for a moment that you actually did it. I just said you thought there wasn't quite enough around. There's a difference.
I'm not denying it.
All right. So, in this particular situation, we're going to cover a little bit of news, and we're going to have some chat about some development things, or whatever else happens to be on our list of things to bitch about. So,
it's a very long list this week.
yeah, we have a couple of items of news to get through first. Mello, you had something about Valve finally getting off their ass.
Yeah, Valve are actually finally getting off their ass. For those who don't know, I actually do articles for TechRaptor and Digital Homicides, where I basically just compile a bunch of news that I find on Steam, Greenlight, Steam community, that sort of thing. And one thing that caught my eye that made it into the article was Valve actually picking up their game and actually kicking developers off of Steam. I'm just going to read off the article here. On the 7th of January 2017, 3 games were removed from the Steam store. These games in question were called Atorb, Sequer, and Bolo. The thing that these 3 games had in common were that they were all developed by a developer on Steam called Vasily Bulygin, also known under his alias on Steam Greenlight, BTR.im. All 3 of his games on Steam were taken down on the 7th of January, as well as all the games that he had on the Steam Greenlight program. In regards to the games being removed, Valve were quick to release a statement coming from Valve representative Alden Kroll stating, "We, Valve, have identified suspicious behavior involving multiple Steam accounts controlled by the developer of this game, Vasily Bulygin. These accounts were used to exploit the community marketplace and post positive reviews for his own games. For these reasons, we are ending our business relationship with Vasily Bulygin and removing his games from sale. If you have previously purchased this game, it will remain accessible in your Steam library."
Now,
go ahead.
No, I lost the question. Go ahead.
Okay. And then, not just that, about a day later, along with BTR.im's games being removed from both Steam and Greenlight, Valve dropped the hammer on another developer, VRS Production, for faking positive reviews of their product and posting almost the exact same response, removing their game Local League of Keepers, I think it was.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Off of Steam Early Access, I think. And after that, Valve went on a frenzy and removed multiple games from Steam, including but not limited to, just today, they've removed 2 more games, Hot Wheels World's Best Driver and Depression, but they've also removed games like Uncrowded, Landmark, Atorb, Sequel that were named earlier.
Well, Landmark is reportedly ending, actually. They're just going to kill it. and that would probably be why why it's been removed.
More than likely.
Daybreak's just killing it, is what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's just about everything. Valve are actually caring about their servers and are actually kicking developers that are doing shady practices off of the Steam store.
Now, if they just do that for Greenlight on a regular basis, that would be brilliant.
Well, they're technically doing it for Greenlight. If they spot a developer doing shady stuff on the store, then they cut ties with them on Greenlight as well.
Well, yeah, that would come with the murdering of business relations. See,
Yeah.
the first people to meet this fate were in fact Digital Homicide some months ago after they tried to sue 100 random Valve users or Steam users, 88 of which they didn't name. Valve would just bend over and take it. I didn't figure they would.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant what Valve thought would happen. But yeah, that's all I bet you that's what they thought would happen. They just thought, Valve will take it because they don't care. And
well, no, the thing is...
Random people have these users' information. We don't care. Yeah. What are they, the PlayStation Store?
Actually, PlayStation's got enough lawyers, they don't do that either. They've been sued like that before, and people have disappeared.
You never need to sue them. Hack their network, which has been done at least 5 times in the past 5 years.
Yeah, well, that's a different thing. That is a game for another day. Next time we see a Sony hack, though, we should probably have something to say about it. But, yeah, the Jim Sterling lawsuit apparently is going nowhere for the DigiHum as well. The last time I heard anything had come out of it was on the 23rd of October. But, it's on the just as an interesting segue into lawsuits, you've got something for us, Ratchet?
Yeah, so 2 years ago, Oculus was sued by, or they put in proceedings, I guess, the lawsuit of Oculus, ZeniMax put in proceedings. I'm all over the place this morning. Anyway, so it turned out what actually happened was John Carmack took a bunch of files and the prototype of what was to become the Oculus Rift from the id Software offices after he quit ZeniMax. ZeniMax and id, and when he became the lead director of Oculus. So that was a bit shady on his part. I can see why they're suing him. So yeah, that's more or less what's happened. He's taken the prototype, which he built, so I assume. I kind of guess he has a bit of a right to it, but not to just take it from their offices after he's quit.
Well,
so they've been...
Usually, employment contracts for things like that, you get bought up by another company. It means that all the R&D you were doing beforehand, and anything anything that you've done while you're in there employed, belongs to the company. I mean, I've run into a dozen things like that. Anytime I sign a contract to work for a company, there's always that clause. So.
Well, it wasn't just him working on his own, it was him working with ZeniMax programmers. So it really is, he's kind of in the shit for $2 billion.
Well, I don't think it's that John Carmack can't afford it, but still. I don't expect, it's already been running 2 years. I don't expect a settlement anytime soon. So yeah, keep an eye on your Oculus Rift, folks. You may actually wind up being part of a class, but concerning stolen shit. Okay.
Buy yourself a Vive.
Or something.
There you go.
PlayStation VR, which I hear actually works in some places that other things don't. All right. So,
no opinion.
Continuing on our little quest for podcast, we have our.
Well, no, it's technically the start.
True enough.
Thanks to you.
Yeah, well, I already admitted to screwing that up, so don't even go there. All right. So, let's go on to today's topic. The last time we tried this, it was the horror of horror games. We'll do that. We'll touch that one again later. Probably about the same time we see Resident Evil 7. But today we have one of the primary sins, an original sin for game developers of all stripes. Open worlds with no freaking content. All right.
Open maps in general.
And open maps in general. Well, that pretty much covers it. That's pretty much covered by the initial. So, all right. And really the detail here is, why the hell are you going for square mileage when there's nothing in the square mileage? You know, you've got 3 NPCs and 6 monsters and, 50 square kilometers
of map.
50 square kilometers of map. What are you doing? I mean, yeah, that you can get it packed into that on a PlayStation 3's memory budget is really cool, but what are you fucking doing?
It's boring as fuck to play.
Yeah, it turned out to be boring. I mean, look at No Man's Sky, for example. I mean, if we really want to get into an example that is some serious shit, let's go with No Man's Sky. You've got 1,000,006 galaxies, spanning billions upon billions upon billions of light years, and yet, for some reason that nobody gets, nobody could possibly understand, there's almost nothing in it. I mean, admittedly, space actually looks like that in a large degree. But when you've got interstellar jump drives, why the hell are you going down to a planet? Why the hell do you even go down to the planet just to blow shit, just to blow shit up, and make friends with the little animals and piss off the Sentinels, only to run into a whole different set of problems because you're doing the same things over and over and over and over and over again. First 3 hours you're having fun. The next 3 hours you're going, After that you're going, fuck this noise.
Yeah.
Not considered good. All right, Mello, your turn with the stick. What do you got for me? Comments?
Thing is, I'm completely fine if a game has an open world that is really big, but the thing that I care about is that it actually uses that space efficiently. You hear all these developers boasting, our map is 20 square miles long in real world meters or whatever it was, and then they boast all this stuff, but they don't show anything with their world. Like No Man's Sky again was a great example. They have this huge whole space environment with planets that you can land on, but there's little to nothing on the planets. Like, granted, they're adding in stuff now, but that's basically just acting as if you're God, creating this whole empty environment, and then just placing things down as time goes on.
And expecting people to entertain themselves in the meantime.
Yeah. Simply shooting at a rock.
Using space correctly. Let's look at some of Bethesda's games. They tend to have lots and lots and lots of stuff to do, and in fact, I don't know anybody that's done all the stuff. I don't. Even the stuff out of the stock game, I don't know anybody. I've got 600 hours into Skyrim, and you know what? I still haven't done all the things.
I think the main kings of the open world genre are probably Bethesda and Rockstar Games.
Well, even Rockstar's been falling into that trap lately.
Not really.
Grand
Theft Auto.
No.
I mean, you're welcome to correct me if I'm wrong, but
All right. Grand Theft Auto 5, right, the space is a bit vast, but every part of it is used in single player. You use the entire map for missions and such. And when you're in free roam, there's actually NPCs that do stuff in that environment. If you drive around for 2-3 hours, you're bound to see people pulled over on the side of the road, bonnet up, checking their car, or like people fighting on the side of the road. And
there's random encounters, that sort of thing.
Yeah. all this different kind of stuff that happens. They use that space well, but it is randomly generated, so you can't tell when stuff will happen. So if you don't get the random generation, it just looks like a big waste of space.
It isn't necessarily really too randomly generated, because a few encounters do have set designated locations. It's just the order that you encounter them that makes them sort of random.
And there's the other side of this, is that a lot of games of that nature can get real repetitive in terms of what they're doing with the space, even if they are using it.
Cough, cough, Fallout 4, cough.
Actually, Fallout 4 wasn't.
Fallout
4 wasn't that bad.
I was thinking primarily more of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, let's talk Ass Creed. If we're gonna do that, let's talk Ass Creed. Especially later on, as they start kind of losing the thread. Because I actually have a bunch of those Ass Creed games now. I think I'm missing Syndicate and Unity, but that's kind of where we're going with that. Mirror's Edge was a huge disappointment in that respect. Both Mirror's Edge games had the same damned problem. They have huge open worlds up on the rooftops, but there's almost nothing to do in them. There's very little that, and even if there is something to do in some spaces, you're doing the same types of things. You're going to go parkour around, doing fetch quests. MMORPGs, almost all of them are exactly the same thing.
Thing is, there's also the type of games like Mirror's Edge, which is also a pretty good example, where they have this open world, but they stick you on this linear path, where they're like holding your hand to go to different locations.
Yeah, well, MMOs are especially guilty of that, and some RPGs as well. Not all of them, just a lot of them.
Mirror's Edge 1 was if you actually get into the editor, or not into the editor, if you go into the console, sneak it open and have an actual no clip around, you'll find that most of that stuff that looks like you can go on it is fake, which I can understand why they did it, but on another point, it's retarded. Or if we want to be politically correct, it's a very stupid idea, but it fills the world. And with Mirror's Edge 2, I completely agree. That was a big waste of space. I had to play the beta of that, and you just run around, and it's like, keep doing the missions that send you from A to B over and over again. You keep going to the same two areas, and then there's all this open world that is absolutely useless. And I do agree in part with Brick on Fallout 4, because there's points where you get to certain points where you just keep doing the same shit over and over again.
Another settlement needs your help.
Oh, Jesus, don't even start.
Yeah, don't start with that. I don't have the foggiest idea of why they did that.
Let me know when I can have the floor, because I'll talk about that in depth.
Well, it is your turn, so if Bello is finished with the stick, he can pass it to you, or I can take it back and then pass it to you. Or are you done, Mello?
I'm done.
Okay.
Okay, I'll take the stick then. You should know by now that one of my favorite games in the history of ever is New Vegas.
Yeah.
So, if you actually look at how New Vegas does their world, some might argue that there's bugger all in it, but I actually like that because it's set in the desert.
Yeah, it's a wasteland. It's supposed to do that.
But it's also in the desert. So you have time to soak in the atmosphere as you're walking to the next point. But encounters happen, and they happen just when you would get bored. So you'd be walking and you go, there's a building there. Oh, yay, there's people shooting at me. I'm going to get killed again. But I find 4 doesn't do that in a way. Like, there's always stuff. Like, I can go to that building or that building and that building. Oh, look, there's another settlement that needs my help. There's
feral ghouls.
Just stuff. No, I don't mind the feral ghouls so much. I don't mind the encounters that walk along. I really like that. The problem is all the points of interest are way too close together. I don't mind the map so big. I just don't like that all the POIs are magically humping each other.
Yeah.
Like, I like finding unmarked POIs, like destroyed buildings and that. I like just having time to collect my thoughts and wander to the next spot. I would like that in the next game that Bethesda does, they don't put so much stuff so close together. Like, spread it out a bit, maybe thin out some of the not as useful ones. Not everything needs to have a travel marker on it. A good example of that is Witcher 3, actually, which is one of my other favourite games. Because you have fast travel, but you have to go to the signpost to do it. And those signposts are far enough away that they're not everywhere, but close enough that you're not having to walk for half an hour. So, yeah.
Well, I can imagine. Yeah. Good.
It's my argument's more, it's nice to have content, but you need to space it out. Like, you need to give the player time to reflect and breathe, and I don't know, just not keep throwing the same 3-4 Radiant quests at them. Because
that would be lovely.
Fuck, I hate that Radiant quest system after a while.
Don't we all?
That hatred got drilled back in after I replayed Skyrim.
Yeah, well.
It came out, I'm like, yay! The Radiant quest started. Yay. I can go kill that bandit camp again.
And again,
and look, it's another bandit camp. Etc.
Oh, looky.
You can have the floor back if you want.
More storm cloaks to kill. Why am I killing more storm cloaks? Why do I even want to kill more storm cloaks?
I don't normally pick a side because I think they're both assholes.
Well, they are both assholes. That's irrelevant.
Yeah.
I like.
It's more bandits for me. Oh, look, there's bandits at my house. I wonder if I should do something as they're running through my house.
Answer, probably. You're wandering around your house.
My steward will take care of it. As well as my house car. And then maybe my dog. And if they kill my dog, I shall hunt down every last bandit on the map. And
destroy them utterly. Because at that point they will have deserved it. Yeah.
In a weird John Wick style revenge.
I
like that movie, it's good.
I would watch that. John Wick with swords, I would watch the shit out of that movie.
So would I, actually. You would, it's called Payday 2.
Let's see.
Melee only one.
Alright, Mr. Spanner, how about you? What do you got?
How dare you? I am triggered.
Trigger warning! I call people by names that aren't necessarily theirs, but might be related to.
I'd go into a rant about cis privilege, but I'd want to neck myself afterwards. So, the whole thing behind open maps is ridiculous. As a kid, back on the PS1 and PS2, when I was like an early teen on the PS2, massive open world games. Like Grand Theft Auto 3 was huge for me as a kid. Games like that were amazing. Like even just, you could have just this big flat terrain that's like 5Ks, and I would be like, holy shit, this is amazing. But of course, we all do that as kids, which is the market that these games are appealing to. They're appealing to kids who couldn't give a crap. They just want an open world game. But of course, they also have to appeal to people like us in their late teens to 30s and 40s. And from my perspective of making open world games, it's not that hard to fill them with content if you have a passion for it. If you have a passion to design these games, you can easily fill it with content. If you're writing a story for it, you can go, these creatures like death claws and all this other kind of stuff, like what Bethesda do. The team at Bethesda really love the lore behind Fallout, and they just add all these different creatures and stuff. Whereas there are some Greenlight developers, I'm not going to name names, but I've got like a list of at least 100 that don't care. They want to make a quick buck. So they really don't care about the story behind it. Yep. God. I can't remember who else. There was another one I was looking at this morning. It's this massive map, and it's like the person's like 6 square kilometers of open world or some shit. I'm like, that's not that big, but all right. And I'm like, they're decent size. And then it showed the map, and it's this flat plane with a few trees in it, and he's like running around. It's on the CryEngine. He's running around with the CryEngine shotgun, shooting just these AI that don't move.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that pissed me off about the CryEngine going free, which because it's known as the open world engine, it is the engine. If you want to make an open world game, you use the CryEngine. So there's games like Drizzle Path, which have a look at Drizzle Path. It's terrible. I have the developer on Steam. He's amazing. Yeah. Oh yes. Hey, at least that got a little bit of effort put into it.
Well, I see a lot of no effort shit that comes to Greenlight, and sometimes it even makes it to Steam. Forsaken Uprising comes to mind.
I have that.
Or that other one that was just like it.
Rust?
What?
Medieval stuff.
You talking about Rust?
No, Medieval Works. I was referring specifically to They Who Shall Not Be Named.
Well, you've already named them, so...
Well, it's beside the point. I didn't do that. I was just having a cough. But, yeah, it's kind of it's really some obnoxious stuff that goes on with that. And I'm kind of wondering what some of these people are thinking. How is, 20 or 50 square clicks going to be a good game if all you've got is a bunch of buildings that come right out of the CryEngine store, for example, and your job is to wander around in them? That's a walking simulator. That's not an open world game. But you also had other reportedly open world games. The reboot of Bionic Commando comes to mind, as well as several Spider-Man games, where you can web sling around all day, or swing around, stop. You've got a huge map, and what is there to do? I mean, Infamous did the same damn thing. You could go and be an asshole, or you could go and be a complete angel. That's a story for that's a podcast for another time, probably next week, because that's a thing that annoys the shit out of me. But what are you doing? I mean, you're going to spend 20 hours in front of a screen with a controller in your hand. What is it that you're actually getting out of it? What accomplishment are you making? I mean, you want to do that? Let's talk about a lot of the multiplayer games that have been coming up. For example, let's take a really wacky example. Let's go with Metal Gear Solid 5. I mean, you can go run around and build up your base and pay for the insurance, and what are you actually getting?
That's a topic for another day.
Well, that last detail is in fact a topic for another day. But really, what you've got is a huge multiplayer arena sandbox looking thing that's absolutely freaking huge, but you have fuck all to do in it except raid somebody else's stuff. You populate your base by kidnapping people. I mean, really, people? What is that shit? Mad Max was another one that was guilty of that shit. Base building in Fallout 4? We already played Minecraft, folks. Really, we did.
Yeah.
I would have been fine with base building if it was like one separate DLC, not like little bits in all the DLCs.
Well, the initial base building setup was not what I considered great anyway. But really, you can't. Really, you're looking for 5 DLC out of Bethesda. We were lucky. We were actually in really good shape to get 3 story-based DLCs.
We still will be. It's just there will be a clusterfuck of or a cluster, if you want to censor me, of those small ones that will be just small, like new NPCs and that kind of stuff. Because ZeniMax are kind of going off on a tangent with this paid mini DLC. They're doing a Payday 2, basically.
Mm-hmm. But they're not. They're pulling the same stunt that got pulled with the little mini DLCs that Payday puts out in exorbitant numbers. Bethesda does the same thing, except that they don't do nearly as many.
Well, I think Bethesda mainly did that with just Fallout 4. I mean, Fallout 3's DLC was mostly good, as well as New Vegas's. New Vegas had a couple of small DLCs, but I think they were done at a dead cheap price, which seemed reasonable.
Well, we don't get into DLC horse armor. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's looking at you. Here's looking at you, Oblivion. There are ways. But yeah, there are ways to do this, and there are ways to not do this. Actually, Ratchet, how would you do this if you were going to put together a huge open world, say 20 square clicks, and you wanted a variety, or at least some kind of content for at least one per square kilometer?
Well, what I would do with the actual environments themselves, I would reuse assets. Same trees, different textures, which is what a lot of developers do. If you look at Fallout 4, look at the assets. Turning into a snake. Some of the assets are just the same thing retextured, which is perfectly fine because you can't. Yeah. They put effort into it, and you can't see that they're the same assets because trees. Who's going to look at a tree? Who's going to go up close to a tree and go, "That's the same tree as over there"? Because
actually, I did that. I do that on a regular basis. I do that shit, but that's because I know my way around a 3D modeler, and I know what to look for when I'm poking at it. Most people, admittedly, will not.
Well, yeah, I do the same thing. I see holes in the ground, and I crawl. I go prone in the game and go to the hole in the ground. And go, this is unacceptable. Like a tiny little 5x5 pixel hole in the ground. I go, you can see through the map. But yeah, it is stuff that us as developers and people who work in the industry or the indie part of the industry do see, because we have a keen eye for that, but a normal player doesn't see that.
The average player won't care unless they fall into it. The Division.
Yeah, exactly.
The Division, Homefront: The Revolution.
Watch Dogs 1.
Watch Dogs.
I've had that happen.
Don't get me started about Watch Dogs. Don't even go there.
That's an example. That's a really good example of this problem. That was the single most boring map I've encountered in many years. Like, literally, you made Chicago boring.
Well, in all fairness, Chicago isn't very exciting anyway. That's my opinion.
I was going to say.
I've been there. It's kind of boring to begin with, but that's not relevant here. This is a game. This is supposed to be the escape. This is supposed to be the fantasy. You make a huge, big, open thing, and then bore the shit out of everybody with it. You see the sophomore demon, the little ball of hate on the screen? Yeah, that's me after 90% of open world games. Really.
Yeah, that's how I posted that picture.
Yes, you did post it.
Screen,
it's been on screen for a while now. Soft demon, warm demon, little ball of hate. And all I see is a wet black cat with one eye that's really open and ready to, and looks like the kitty cat's ready to kill you.
Yep.
If I had a roof mirror, that is what I'd look like every morning when I woke up. Drenched in sweat and hair everywhere. It's just terrible. Don't live in Queensland.
Yeah, well, that's because you live in Queensland. If you moved to some place that is actually cooler during both summer and winter, you would not have that problem.
Move to New York.
No, don't move to New York. Move to Seattle. You'll do better because we're in
the hipsters.
Well, you could avoid the hipsters. Actually, it's not like you're talking about Portland. Portland or San Francisco, you devil. Yeah, no. There are places around Seattle you can go to completely avoid the hipster douchebags if you really wanna. But it's mild in the winter, and summers aren't all that. Don't usually get as hot as they will in Queensland or New South Wales or some of these other places that are apparently just hellholes looking for an excuse. Especially when you're talking about Mad Max games. Yes, I understand. Go ahead.
Australia in the summer is just imagine the Mad Max movies. Not the parts where it's all foresty and shit, the parts where it's all desert. He's like hacking someone's leg off.
Yeah, well.
He chained a guy and the guy had to hack his own leg off. That's right. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
1980. 1980, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Isn't that just a normal Saturday in Australia?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
You should know.
I don't know. Australia managed to chase off Yahtzee Croshaw, so he's living, I think, in Los Angeles now. I don't think he's going to stay there very long.
Well,
he'll probably move north.
Shit, so.
Well, that would probably be another reason.
We also chased off we chased off Hogs.
Yep.
Paul Hogan. He's not Australian. Well, he ditched.
Paul Hogan. I'm surprised Steve Irwin managed to die before he got chased off. What do you got for me? I'm hearing croc croc croc. Hello.
What?
Oh no, that wasn't me saying croc. Sorry, that was me saying. I was saying in the background.
Okay, makes sense to me. Any further comments on this? Ooh.
Not really. I don't really have anything that's already been said.
Yeah.
If you're a Greenlight developer watching this and you release an open world map that has nothing in it, you should hang yourself from the ceiling.
No.
By the feet.
Let's play nice.
How about this? You should put some actual fucking effort in and not just sort of like upturn the toy box and say they're done.
Yeah.
As soon as you get money, as soon as you As soon as you get money and make it exclusively for stuff in an asset store, you should stop working on the game. Just go back to playing Call of Duty or whatever the fuck you're playing.
Yeah, at least try and get some new assets going. Or retexture the ones you've got, or whatever the hell you're going to do. Do something. Make an effort, especially if you're going to do an open world game or some other sort of bullshit. We want to play, and that's ultimately, at the end of the day, that's where it's all going. We want to play. We want to have something to do. We want to escape from wherever the fuck it is we currently live and go live in somebody else's skin for a while. You know.
Also, if you're making an open world zombie game, put quests or something in it, like fucking World of Warcraft style quests, because no one wants another Days to climb
style quests.
Just stuff like daily daily mission kind of things at least.
Or at bare minimum, have a storyline that actually makes some freaking sense and wrap it up neatly at the end. That would be lovely. I would be completely okay with people doing that. Okay. You know, let's have an end to it. The endless runner style zombie open world thing. Let's not say we did. Shall we? Please? Sooner or later, you're gonna run out of zombies. There's a game we saw. There's a game came out recently. It's called Pain Train. That was
the Blaughtering Blounds.
Yeah, that was bullshit. You know, you're spawning 1,000,008 zombies.
The trailer for that one. The developer on Greenlight had actually sped it up like 3 times to hide the fact that it's probably running at about 10 FPS.
I actually have a copy of that game now, and it's something.
Does it run at about 10 FPS?
I don't know yet, but I will find out soon.
If you watch Sterling playing it, he gets like when he comments every 5 seconds saying it's running like 20 or something.
Yeah, I already saw Sterling's video, and usually I don't watch them if I have a copy to hand. I did actually sit through the 15 minutes of him being bored off of his ass. But
I had it running in the background, but yeah.
Oh.
You really gotta wonder, like, why?
Also, if you're going to do that in a big open world thing, make the edges of your world make some fucking sense.
Yeah.
Please.
Not just have you fall into the void. I've seen that a few times. You can just literally fall into the fucking void.
Put a trigger underneath the map that kills or respawns the player somewhere else. Because I'm sick of falling for eternity and having to quit and relaunch the game.
Or even then, or better yet, put up a great big fuck off wall that that the player can't get over. Especially when you're doing zombie games. A quarantine wall would be brilliant right at the edge of your map, guys. Just stick it down there and let it ride. You know.
No. What's that free running zombie game?
Pretend you're Donald Trump looking at Mexico. I mean, really, do something. You know,
Dying Light.
Huh?
Dying Light did Edge of Worlds perfectly. Or Edge of World, sorry.
Okay. And if you're going to do an open world, either you do a completely open world and work on content permanently, or you find some way and some reason that makes sense narratively to block off the area that you want to deal with. Don't just let us drop off the map. That would be annoying. That's always 130% annoying as fuck.
If you want a good reference to that, look at World of Warcraft. As it's aged, like the areas that have opened up, all the new areas, it made sense for them not to be there or for them to be blocked off.
Yeah.
Instead of just making, like if you're making a end of the world apocalyptic game, put like guards or like a big blockaded area and put zombies around the edge of it so they always spawn around the edge so it looks like that area's been overrun by zombies when there's technically nothing in it. That is the perfect way to do it.
They don't even have to be necessarily interactable, just as long as you can't get over the bloody wall.
Yeah, well that's what I'm saying. Just fake NPCs that just kind of roll around there and you're like, oh, well that area is obviously filled with monsters, so you shouldn't go into there.
If I jump down there, I'm going to get hammered in the first 15 seconds. You know, or make it so that you can't go over the wall, but 5 million zombies are on you in the first 3 seconds, and you're just dead. You want to commit suicide? Here's a way to do it. And then you wind up respawning back in the middle of the map. That would be good. I could get behind that. You have this area, you got to clear out the zombies, but outside it's just worse. That could be a thing. I could go with that for edging a map off. Or I have to remember that later. Put a big off army of whatever the hell it is your enemy of the day is. If you're gonna scare somebody, at least do it with something that would reasonably cause hazard to life and limb, not just fall off the edge of the world and keep going until you don't stop because there's nothing to stop you. Or if you want to do it, or if you want to be a real jerk, put an invisible piece of terrain with collision just outside of whatever your fall damage range is, and you just hit it, and the world fades to black, and you're dead.
You're flying down at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and then suddenly, just
poof, you're splat. What was the one game I was thinking of? Invisible Mind. That's the one. Where I fell far enough to actually be in orbit around the thing that they were dealing with. Yeah, there was a moon out there, and we could just be in orbit and just sit there and stare at it.
The new Call of Duty I did that in, I lagged out in multiplayer, fell out of the map, and I could just see the skybox getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
And I flew past the skybox, and I was like, oh. Warp speed, I don't know. Some shitty sci-fi reference.
Warp speed, Mr. Scott.
Yeah. I just looked at it and went, Jesus Christ, how do you even do that? Like, I'm making an open world game, and even I have a thing underneath it that expands the entire map. So if you ever fell out of it, it would kill you, and you would automatically respawn at your default position.
All right. Back to the beginning of the game, you fool.
Yeah.
What was that?
Something I probably
Send you in the Google Hangouts.
Oops. He should come over to Discord like real people. All right.
Oh well, too late.
What does that mean? Hold on. Join the Hangouts
Too late
chat.
for him. We've been at this for how long?
Yeah, like half an hour or so.
Not quite. We've got not quite an hour of footage right now.
Like 50 minutes?
Hey, Sanji, how about you mooch yourself in the Hangout place?
He's in the Hangout.
Move to the what's it called chat?
The Discord.
Discord?
Discord, yeah. Can you move to the Discord? We're all in Squirrel chat doing the podcast.
Yeah, I'll do that.
We're in.
Yeah, Sandra, can you just come on over to the Discord voice channel?
He's already working on it.
General...
Yeah.
Okay.
He's already working on it.
There we go.
Yay!
Respect my authority. Hey,
Sorry,
Sanji.
I was busy home alone for the last hour and a half.
So, okay. So why were?
Even more of a reason to come here.
No, he's doing his Home Alone duties.
So, anyway, Sanji, what we're discussing at the moment is open world, no content. You have comments, I'm sure?
Plenty. Well, we have Skyrim, which
Cough, cough.
yes, Skyrim, which I think is the best RPG out there. Complete sandbox.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically hold on. It basically all you do in it is dungeon crawl for words of power, and there's basically nothing to do after your main storyline.
Well, that's because somebody's not doing it right. There's lots to do after that.
There's tons.
Such as go pick up stuff
The
for
whole
people.
entire bloody underworld cave thing that I can't remember the name of.
And do dungeon crawls for people to find an apple.
Yeah,
I need this apple.
And kill that bandit captain again.
It's basically go to a certain location, meet this person, go to X dungeon, fight through undead, get this item, go back to X location, give it to this person, and capitalize on experience.
The Elder Scrolls medieval UPS.
Yep, absolutely.
Australia Post Elder Scrolls edition.
Now that I'm thinking about it, that sort of transition is just going on to nearly every single RPG open world game.
Yeah. It's fun to do, but I can hear myself. That's beautiful. It's fun to do, but it's the same shit over and over, which
Gets tedious after a while.
it's like Just Cause 3.
Although I think the worst offender in open world empty sandbox is
Forsaken Uprising.
Spider-Man. No, Spider-Man 2, the movie video game.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Nothing to do after you complete the main storyline.
Movie tie-ins for video games as movie tie-ins. Nope, they haven't been done right in a long time. Don't get me started on Ghostbusters.
The John Wick VR game is done brilliantly, but that's because it's not related to the movie. But there is.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say there's one I can't think of at the moment, but there's one I played. Yeah, holy shit, this is awesome. Oh, GoldenEye, because it was nothing like the movie.
Yeah,
It was
Oh,
delayed.
agreed. I would throw in EA's attempt at From Russia with Love as a close second, mainly because it was done nearly 40 years after the movie.
Well, at that point, you're not talking about a movie tie-in. You're talking about a game that was based that was reportedly based on a movie. It did that a lot in the early going because, well, there weren't really video games as such at the time those movies were released. So, kind of a thing.
True.
Yeah. You don't see those much anymore.
The 2009 Ghostbusters video game, which was pretty good.
Yes, and then there was another one back in the 80s that was really good, especially considering what they were putting it on.
The new one was crap.
The new one, the new movie and the new video game were crap.
Okay.
I actually
The new
enjoyed
game-
the movie.
Dude, I tried to. I really tried to.
Social
She's
Justice,
like,
Social Justice, the movie.
the fact that who's that Australian actor? And he like hits the gong, covers his eyes.
Or
Well,
Chris
to be
Pratt or
honest with you,
something.
we can go an entire hour and a half just based on that one little game.
To tie it all up, I find it hilarious that the studio that made the game for the movie got, well, what would you call it? They fell apart because Activision stopped funding them. Much like the guys who made The Walking Dead Survival Instinct, because Activision forced them to release the game early. So Activision is basically a black hole.
Yeah, well, we already knew
I
that.
actually thought Survival Instinct was okay.
I didn't mind it, but it was obviously a prototype. It wasn't something
Yeah,
that should
I
be
agree with
publicly
that.
released.
We can
Oh, it
also
was
throw in
definitely
Team
called Shaw.
Bondi in the discussion with it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, don't worry.
LA Noire.
We'll do the whole thing with Sega, Atari, and Gearbox as well at some point.
I have to address something here.
Also, you go first.
Bondi, Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney. Not Bondi, Brisbane, Melbourne. Sydney's just Sydney. I'd like to point that out for Americans. It's Brisbane. You gotta say everything like bin.
My apologies then.
No.
I had to correct Mello on Geelong the other day.
Yeah.
Like, what's this Geelong place?
You travel the coast, yeah, ridiculous. Like Wagga Wagga and Bindon. Just all these weird names.
All right, so I think we're
Yamba.
at this point. I think we're far enough off topic that we could probably wrap this up. Any last words on the subject from you folks?
Don't make your game so big that you can't fill it with content.
That was those were going to be my words. But we're okay with that.
I'd say at least put some effort into your content. So it's all right that you modify the assets slightly, but don't put like the same two trees next to each other or constantly repeating the same texture, like tiling the same texture across like a 5K wall. Like at least put some variation or some cracks or some bullet holes or blood
Decals.
on the wall. Yeah, decals of some description. Even if it's a drawing of a penis. It's something. Just don't put two exactly the same next to each other. It looks like shit.
I think before you even think about putting your game on a site, doesn't matter if it's Greenlight or GameJolt or Itch.io or whatever the hell you want to put it on, before putting it on there, once you release the game, don't release it, build it, and then play it for 5 or 6 hours on your own. And if you get bored of it, don't release it. Go back and fix what was boring about it.
And get your friends to test it, or even get someone. You can find someone who is happy enough to tear you a new asshole if it's shit. Like someone who's not just going to give you a hand job over it. Like, you know what I mean? Like the same people who literally
Don't find yes men. And don't take it to your friends. If you're a kid that still goes to school, take it to people. You can just go, I made a game, who wants to play it? And people put their hands up everywhere because people love playing free games.
Yeah.
Don't pick your friends and don't pick people that go, oh yeah, this is awesome to everything you do. Pick people that will tell you when you ask.
Who isn't a fuckwit, which is hard to find, I know, but if you've got a teacher who is just critical overall and likes games, just say, I've got this game, I need someone to test it who's not just going to say yes.
Or good. Better yet,
someone's going to tear it a new asshole.
Or better yet, dig your favorite credit card on Steam. Hell, send me a copy of the game. I'll tear it a new asshole. I have no problems with it. If I'm bored to tears in the first 5 minutes, you will find out. And I will not apologize. Send it to Mello. He might do it.
Oh, thanks.
I won't.
Thanks for opening me up for the torture line.
Sanji, put your headset on.
I volunteer tribute.
You know what? It's better to deliver it to a grade A asshole. Pardon my language here, but it's better to deliver it to one of them because you're going to get an honest opinion than you would to a yes man.
Mm.
Well, a yes
Question,
man.
Have I said cunt this episode? Because I think I just have.
You just did. As a matter of fact, I think you might have done it a couple of other times, and I don't care.
Well,
it's standard
cuss
Australian
as much as we
dialect.
want. I was just saying to Sanji that it is okay, no matter what he says, he can cuss his cunting head off.
It shows diversity.
Yep, diversity of language. Absolutely fucking right. Okay.
Yep.
So
that totally wasn't forced.
Abso-fucking-lutely it was forced because that's just a thing. Now,
like when you kid first lines.
Alrighty then. So I think that's it for us for this week. We'll be back next week. Probably with I don't know what we're gonna do next week. We might do microtransactions. Might do some other stupid thing that developers make mistakes on. Or we might have something completely different. I don't know. We'll figure it out in the next few days.
Knows?
We'll let you know. All right then. So from us to you, enjoy what remains of your weekend. Probably not very much. Some of you might have tomorrow off, especially if you're in the United States. Everybody say goodbye now.
Say
I'm sorry.
Alrighty then. Between now and then, stay safe, stay sane, and let's make games fun again. Or at least do our best. I know we're asking for a lot, but we'll try it. Alright, see you later.